this is Ashley again. Welcome back to Struggles of Mom Life. This week we're going to be talking about safety. It's so important to have the proper tools to keep your baby safe because there is so many things that your baby can get hurt on, things that you could not even imagine. Like you could not imagine sticking your finger in a light socket. You just wouldn't do it. You know you would get electrocuted. Babies don't know that. And slobber and electricity do not mix. So we'll be covering everything you can do to your home to help you get ready for your baby. And I know one of the best tips I ever got was to actually get on my hands and knees and start crawling around my house and see what all was in grabbing range or potential danger I might have. And let me tell you, when you crawl around on your hands and knees in your house, you A, find out that you need softer carpet, and B, you find out there are so many things your baby can get hurt on. So we're going to be discussing safety this week. Childproofing your home. This is one of the most important things that you can do. There are things that are beyond your control. Your baby's going to fall. Your baby is going to scratch themselves with long nails that they don't want you to clip. Your baby's going to hit himself in the face or hit you in the face. So your baby's going to get hurt. But there are some things that you can do to prevent massive accidents. And throughout this video, we're going to discuss some of those. Here are some safety tips. Install safety guards across entries to stairs and balconies. And always supervise your child on stairs and balconies, even if you have guards. Because even if you think they cannot figure out how to open that childproof gate, they're going to figure out a way around it. I know that's been our toughest struggle with our childproofing of the house, is some things that we were doing weren't working, and he would end up smashing his fingers in drawers or doors. So some things you can't prevent, but we can try. These are some more common sense measures. Lock windows, particularly upper story windows, or shield them with firmly attached window guards so your child cannot fall out. Once they start discovering the windows, you're going to need to make sure they're locked. I know my little one has recently discovered the windows, and in addition to the windows, he has discovered the curtains and the blinds. So now my blinds go about halfway up my window because that's where he can't reach them. So you're going to have to make sure things are out of reach, and especially things like cords to blinds. You definitely want to make sure those are put up because a little one can strangle themselves with that cord. And this is especially important with cribs. Never place your crib in front of a window because they could get tangled up in either the curtains or the drawstring cord for the blinds. So beware of that. Also use low power night lights and an efficient torch to make looking after your baby at night safer. I know, you're thinking torch, who's lighting an open flame around a baby? A flashlight. It's good to have a flashlight just in case. You never know when you could lose power, and those little night lights you got plugged into the wall completely lose their purpose. So it's always good to have a flashlight handy just because you never know. Now this one pertains to older children. Leave a hall light on at night or use sensor lights to make it easier for older children to get to the toilet without tripping. You might be able to see perfectly fine to walk through your dark house to go to the bathroom, but your little one is not. Not all trips are preventable, but some are. So we do what we can to prevent those falling accidents. Here are some more common sense measures. They make just about anything and everything you can think of to childproof your home. You have simple little covers to plug into your outlets, and these even get so far as to have like a box attached to it with a dummy button. So your child may think they're getting into something, but really they're not. I know most of these childproof measures do have the dummy buttons because your child's going to want to mess with it and play with it and stuff like that. So I think they do a decoy button to divert their attention from actually figuring out how to get this child safety measure off of whatever it is that it's protecting them from. It's extremely important to make sure that any cabinets that contain anything like cleaning materials or anything that could be poisonous or hazardous, these have to be locked. And I know with us, we use the little cabinet locks. So he can open it about 2 inches. So in these cases, it's also good to make sure everything that might be potentially harmful is pushed way far back in your cabinet. You don't want your baby getting a hold of the bleach or getting a hold of the bathroom cleaner or, God forbid, getting a hold of any other chemical. So it's always best to just go ahead and lock that stuff up. Safety measures, you might have to get a little creative. This is actually overlook my dusty fireplace cover, but this is actually a picture of my home and what I had to do to protect my little one from my fireplace. Now, we have since taken down the fireplace guard because it was very, very heavy and we were terrified that he was going to pull it down onto himself. So we got rid of that completely, and we don't actually have like gas logs or a real fireplace. It's just an electric fireplace put into our fireplace hole. That way we don't have to run the risk of running an actual fire where I fear he could definitely get hurt. So we avoided that completely. But I had this lovely brick all around my fireplace. So I needed to figure out something that would protect him because I knew inevitably he would be climbing on it or be going around it. So what I did is I bought, I think it was like an $18, $19 pack of foam letters, like foam mat letters. And I pieced together these letters and hot glued them to my fireplace. And then I had to buy some extra foam on the side because it wasn't quite enough to cover up everything. So the entire thing is padded. All the corners are padded, all the front is padded, and on top of it is padded. That way, if God forbid he was to fall, hopefully he won't get a concussion. Now that he's getting a little bit older, he has started pulling these little guys off, but he doesn't tend to mess with it that much, so it's not like a huge fear for us. But that's a really inexpensive option to protect, especially if you have a brick fireplace, because I know it was suggested that we use baby gates, and the amount of baby gates we would need to cover this area would be ridiculously expensive. So I came up with a much cheaper solution, and it served its purpose well. This is another thing. A lot of people don't think about the corners, like corners to coffee tables or corners to counters and stuff like that. But if your little one is running or crawling or pulling up, you don't want them to hurt themselves on the corner. You can easily get these little foam caps, these foam rubber caps to put on your corners. Or if you're on a budget and you need a quick fix, you can go to your local craft store, pick up some foam, and hot glue gun will be your best friend. So if you don't mind hot glue on it and you need a cheap fix, foam and hot glue is the best thing to use. And then of course it's also important to use a safety gate to keep children out of areas where you don't need them to be going, like especially with stairs. And as your little one starts to get older, also not a bad idea to invest in a lock that is high where they can't reach it. So that's our little segment on safety this week. I hope you learned some new things, and I hope you enjoyed my little cheap, crafty solution to childproofing my fireplace, which was one of my biggest fears just because it was all brick and I could definitely see a concussion or a cut coming. Or in the case of Ben, he actually started peeling the paint and eating the paint chip. So definitely protect any type of painted surface that can be easily scratched off because they're going to put it in their mouth. Thanks, I'll see you next week.